Hey y'all. Some of you may know if you follow me on Morning Report that every now and again I get some inflammation in my ankles and my feet. Uh, it's bothersome. It doesn't happen very often, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. And the the drug that works the best for it, unfortunately, is prednisone. Prednisone gives you tertiary diabetes. Um, I have gotten information that reveals that it's only really a problem if you're on prednisone all the time. And I know there are people who are on prednisone all the time, and so that is a huge problem. It's not such a big deal if you're taking, a 5 day, you know, regimen of it, once a year, maybe twice a year. It's not that big a deal. That will be me. Um, the only problem that I have is that uh, where I have my medical care now, or medical care, I guess that's the term for it, is really more interested in accounts than patients or people. It is obvious by the way they run the office. A lot of times it is not the doctors, and I understand. From what I hear, it's the same way at the VA. Once you get through the BS and actually get to a doctor, they're pretty good. You know, they're pretty good. It's all the other stuff. It's the office staff, basically. It is the people who run the office staff primarily, and the systems uh, blockades they have to actually getting the medical care to the patient. Because what ends up happening is um, that they become an impediment to the care, getting to see a doctor, getting to get information to a doctor. They end up being an impediment. They end up being a hurdle, not an avenue. And they need to be an avenue, not a door. And this is probably the most frustrating part of medicine and how medicine is practiced. I've not, in the past 20 years, I've not had a problem necessarily with a doctor. I've not had a problem with a doctor. Even the medical offices that I was fired from for noncompliance, I didn't have a problem with a doctor, and it's happened twice now. Um, Dr. Failing that I had years ago, I didn't have a problem with him or his bedside manner or approach or his or how he treated me. I didn't have a problem with him. Very open. It was easy to ask questions. Gave me the answers to my questions. All the stuff that people have trouble with doctors. No problem there at all. Um, After finding a new doctor, it was an older gentleman who was about to retire. No problem with him at all. Zero problem with him at all. And the young man who took over for him, fantastic, no problem. Now the only problem is, again, it is the systems, the procedures that are between my doctor and me. For us, it seemed, it's looked at as the office staff or the office procedures. That's the only people I have a problem with. So a new company took over my old doctor's office and decided not to take my insurance. See, not a doctor problem, corporate problem, front office problem. Were they going to tell me before I got there? No, They weren't going to tell me before I actually made it to the appointment that I had scheduled. As a matter of fact, the story goes, they called me to confirm my appointment to tell me that a new company had taken over, and asked me if I preferred a male doctor or a female doctor. I thought it wasn't supposed to matter. I thought I wasn't supposed to have a preference. But they asked me. I don't know if they can ask you, but they did. I don't know if that's part of the Affordable Care Act stuff. A lot of this stuff is, trust me. But anyway, and then I didn't care. And then as we were talking, the person on the phone, front office, corporate, said, "Oh yeah, by the way, we don't take your insurance, so we're gonna have to cancel your appointment." I guess I got fired again. Now, the insurance I have isn't some Mr. Podunk insurance. It's one of the largest, healthcare provider. I mean, companies, insurance companies, in the world. They just decided they weren't going to take them anymore. Good luck. Were they going to help me find a new doctor? Not at all. They were going to help me find somebody who took my insurance? Not at all. I was out. I was off their list. And they did not care. So I went to this huge company here, Advent Health. Now, I have a special place in my heart, literally, for Advent. I went to an Advent hospital in 2014. I was taken there, and I ended up getting heart surgery there. And everybody, again, same thing. Everybody who was directly involved in my health care, from the doctors, the nurses, the uh, people who do the breathing treatments, those folks, the food people, down to the housekeeping people, were all phenomenal. 18 days in the hospital, three of those days in a coma. Bad. It was bad. Those people were awesome because I managed in my condition to not to have to deal with office people or corporate. I got right to healthcare because I was dying. So I had a very good impression about Advent. Now I'm at an Advent Health medical group. Not the same experience with the doctor. Completely different experience with the front office, the systems, the algorithms, the processes that are preventing me from getting care. If you've had similar situations, please write it down in the comments. You don't have to give me specifics, obviously. We don't want everybody knowing your business. But if you have a story that you can relate, I'd love to see it. I'd love to hear it. I'd love for you to share that so we can share these stories. Can we put pressure on these entities? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But I do know that suffering in silence will only exacerbate the problem. I know that suffering in silence only exacerbates the problem.